We are now live. Good afternoon, listeners and viewers at home. This is the BS Podcast.
I'm Blaze.
I'm Shard. And today we got a lovely episode for you today and lots to talk about. In recent events, the political atmosphere has grown to such a massive degree to the point where everybody is throwing tooth and nails at each other about the recent presidential debate between Kamala Harris, who is the current vice president, and former President Donald J. Trump. We got a lot to talk to you guys today, but just to let you know that we are covering the show every Thursday at 3 p.m. through 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll let you take care of the conversions depending where you are. But without further ado, without further delay, let's get into it. Blaze, what you got for us today?
Well, a lot. Just not in terms of quantity, since this is pretty of a tunnel vision type, or more like narrow or specified topic, but a lot in terms of quality of the content, or quality of the topic, because quite frankly, it's heavy. And
I mean, I imagine it's heavy. I swear, fucking politics is just nowadays. Politics is like having two sides with knives pointing at the other. And it's like you make one wrong move, and actually you know someone is gonna come at you with that knife and just stab you in the back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's a very gruesome analogy, but I feel like that's pretty applicable in modern day politics because I swear, in my 22 years of living, I have never seen politics this bad since Trump versus Hillary. And like hell, even when Obama and Mitt Romney was running, I didn't see much discourse against that. Like, I saw way more support. Like easily one-sided support during those times, but you know, as we get older, people take much more political / emotional charge towards this stuff, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, it is not that deep.
To be fair, though, the Obama and Mitt Romney showdown twice in a row with his 2 terms was really
the motherfucker lost like twice though.
Yes, but really that wasn't. I think that is what was the turning point, because during those election cycles, they were originally accusing, at least since his first term, they were accusing Obama stuff like, oh, where is he from? One of his parents is an immigrant, this and that. And although he was born here in the United States, you know, they try to accuse him of all kinds of stuff, or accusing a lot of voters for voting him in just by virtue of him being black and black alone. Which
isn't he biracial technically though?
Say again?
Is he technically biracial though?
I believe so. That's kind of the point.
I mean, I'm not gonna get into that type of discussion since you know.
Well, we don't need to get into it because it's not relevant to today's topic. But yeah, it was. You're not wrong. It was very different back then.
I find it funny. I find it funny that back then no one really cared about. I mean, there's some people. I can say no one, but there weren't that many people that really cared about Obama's race as much as they care now about Kamala. I think for Kamala's it's way more justifiably called into question because people to this day can't seem to remember that being Jamaican or being Indian, being any sort of things, it doesn't make you black. And I find it hilarious that she still to this day calls herself that, or people around her call herself that. And as someone who is black, I find that fucking deplorable for her to wear my race as a costume. That's a whole discussion for another day. So,
oh no, it don't have to be. Although it's not going to be a whole nother discussion because it's going to be relevant. That part to be relevant, and I'm going to clarify that as well. So what do you got for us?
What do you got for us today? Because you were the one who last episode you want to discuss this. You know, the presidential debate happened not long ago. And you wanted to, shift gears into this topic for for not for today's episode, but just really for open discussion because, when you and I made this show, we knew eventually we would eventually talk about this type of stuff, but we didn't really consider like the gravity or the magnitude which we'll be getting into it. And, when you told me ahead of time, and you told me right after the show last week that you want to talk about, the presidential race and by extension the debate for today's episode, I felt like, what is there to really talk about that wouldn't leave people, not just listeners at home, but for anybody who's just coming in, to think that we're going for one side or the other. Like, I like to believe, since I don't go for either Democrat or Republican, I go for pure policy alone. I won't say what those policies are for today, but I typically have probably more like narrow-minded. I won't say narrow-minded. Like, I would definitely say a much more focused view on politics, where I don't give a shit what party or what group you align yourself with. I just have my views are based on the values I've accumulated over the years, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. Although granted, having a bit of a type of bipartisanship in some way is, it's more of a safe than sorry approach. Not gonna lie, it's also not realistic in the long term. Again, we'll get into that in a moment, but regarding the recent debate a couple of days ago, I won't lie to you, this debate left me quite disappointed.
I heard a lot of people walk in and walk down this debate. This debate, with a lot of melancholy. Like, apparently, for some people, it was like, Trump dominated Harris, or Harris dominated Trump, or neither party fucking dominated anybody. It was just like, honestly, I heard a lot of people say that even though it was slightly better than the Biden Trump debate, it was still pretty much, ass cheeks. I'm hearing now a lot between all my friends, but to people who I regularly talk to about this type of subject.
Well, yes. You're going to hear that. Well, to be fair, you're going to be hearing that anyway, because you're just going to have people who are trying to kowtow to whatever party line they align to. So much so that they're willing to just ascertain the idea that that their party, their candidate won regardless of how it went. But the reason why I say that this event left me quite disappointed isn't because I'm picking a particular side in this race that is trying to do this and that. And it's not that I'm disappointed in this debate because of anything particular or specific. Rather, I'm disappointed in this debate, or rather, not just me, but I think a lot of people found this debate very disappointing. Solely for the reason that it felt like a 3 versus 1 debate, a conversation, rather than an actual 1v1. You know what I mean?
So no, I get it. Also,
so
I want to put this up. Like, again, you're the only one who watched you're the only one as of recently that watched the debate, in its entirety, more so than me. I chimed in for a few bits of it, but I wasn't able to get much information fully since it was conflicting with a lot of my schedules and a lot of things, outside the studio. Mm-hmm. But so you obviously have way more knowledge about this thing than I do. So I want you to present it to me in a way that, like, as someone who's basically got a blank slate. But one thing I will say that I am aware about in the show, about the whole debate, I'm hearing a lot of talks about the moderators being a bit biased, which I found interesting. I haven't fact checked that, but I'm hearing rumors amongst moderators being biased for a particular set of people, and we're treating things like, if you go on Twitter, you go on fucking Facebook, you go on like anywhere, you go on Reddit, you go anywhere about this debate. There's a lot of people who are voicing their concerns about the moderators not being, you know, non-partisan, which I find very interesting because that's typically the minimum requirement you have to do in order to do this type of shit. But what do I know?
Oh yeah, yeah. But again, I'll address that in a moment. Just so, oh,
your mic was topping out. What the hell?
Well, overall, so this debate, yes, definitely showed bias, but in a more, unfortunately, basement, underhanded level, type of way where, unless you were someone who really paid attention to the words and actions of both the candidates and the moderators, you would easily gloss over this and think I'm trying to be like conspiracy theory level of cope or something like that, and which is no more further from the truth than it already is. And let me clarify this. Yes, as it turns out, before we get to the moderator, let's talk about the action. Let's talk about what I liked and disliked about the debate itself. Because although it was disappointing, it doesn't mean it didn't have its moments. So throughout the debate, throughout the many different topics they talked about, immigration, the economy, abortion, certain previous histories and actions of their when they're both their times in office. Because let's be honest here, this is a rare occurrence in politics where both candidates have a previous set of experience within the president level type position, or in this case, VP for Kamala.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's a very unique set of situations right now, and rightfully so. So you kind of have to like weigh in on who's more experienced in this regard than the other. But I'm ranting at this point. So
no. I think it's important to establish that we have two people, both sitting, if not exactly, but definitely within the presidential seat, the presidential position, with Kamala being VP and Trump being the former president. There's a level of, I won't say leeway, but definitely a level of position where we can definitely say that both parties have a relatively decent enough experience, at least for minimum 4 years experience, of being near that seat to where everything they say has some weight behind it. If Trump says this and that in regards to the position of presidents or position sort of way, if he sees things that we don't see from a former president's perspective, then that carries weight. And if Kamala says something, in the perspective, albeit from vice president, but doesn't by no means undermine her position, it would carry some weight. The matter is that whose weight is, I guess the way of wording it is like whose weight is heavier. I don't know how to say. I don't know how to really word that. But
it's more like whose position carries more weight in terms of the more of a burden in terms of the scrutiny being thrown at them. Now, in regards to that, right? So let's address this. Both Trump and Harris, I think, had their moment when it came to certain topics. Harris definitely took the stage with the audience, if based on just from me just observing it, when she was tackling particular issues regarding abortion, because apparently out of all the topics that are popular that's seen as a major issue in the political landscape, especially with women voters, abortion is number one by like at least 70%, which the rest being under like 40%, like significantly low.
I could absolutely see that. That is definitely something that like, put it this way, I'm not gonna I know this is technically off topic for today's subject, but when it comes to abortion in the political landscape, I usually keep a hands off approach with that. I try not to really voice too much of an opinion on that. I do have my views, but the problem is that, like, I told my girlfriend this like a long while ago, that I, as a man, regardless of how I feel about the situation, I, as a man, can't tell a woman what to do with her own body because I'm not a woman. I can't birth a kid. I don't have that physical responsibility or burden of a child. I don't have that. So, and not to mention, like, I never experienced a day in my life as a woman. So why would my opinion matter, right? And the only time my logic doesn't really work is if, like, say I'm the father of said child, right? My opinion would matter, because if I wanted that child to be part of my life, or I want to have the child, and my wife says no, obviously there's a level of conflict of interest. But in the matter of the grand scale, when it comes to abortion topics, I can see a lot of men not really vibing with that type of promotion, since it doesn't really pertain to us that much. Not to say that it's right or wrong or anything like that. It's more like it makes sense why the vast majority of women voters are gravitating towards Kamala, because of the liberties that abortion gives. Now, it's up to you if you want to believe that such liberties are right or wrong. I'm not going to say you and tell you otherwise, but you at least understand where it's coming from. Is that like a fair assessment?
Yeah, and although granted, this is definitely, although it's not I see what you mean. Although I'll preface this, we'll definitely talk about abortion another time.
Yeah, like, abortion I think requires a whole different episode. Like, okay, we're not going to get on that, but we know, we do know at the very least it's on a table for not just, I'm not even talking about for the show, but like it's on the table for Harris's thing. Which while we're speaking on, Harris's policies or anything like that, what the fuck is her policies? I generally don't know. Not because I'm sorry.
I'll get into that. As I was saying, Harris has definitely you could say, had her moment when she was talking about abortion, because like her and many other women, and like most women in politics, it's very, like, the way she argued her points about it, she definitely tugged on the emotional heartstrings that this topic tends to rely on when going for one direction or the other.
Emotional heartstrings.
Yes, because while it's hard to argue, it's not necessarily it's hard, but rather it's hard to stomach any particular argument one way or the other without some form of compromise, due to the fact that most women see it as like an invasion of their bodies, because to them, despite it being a different entity being developed within them, since it's still within their bodies, they felt like it's a violation of whatever the heck goes wrong, especially with particular events that may lead to an unwanted one, versus the other is trying to preserve the life that's being developed in of itself, the mother be damned.
Okay, I can see that.
So that's why she definitely hit her moment with her very, like, I'll say, a sympathetic or empathetic type tone and rhetoric with this topic. Now, and heck, she even threw a bait and switch for Donald Trump, which is pretty clever, I'm not gonna lie, about how when she brought up how
use your words, buddy.
People,
use your words, buddy.
No. How people don't be going to his rallies, or rather they're just leaving his rallies because they're just not interesting or anything like that. Which, the reason why I call that a bait is because one thing that you have to challenge Trump on isn't necessarily his rhetoric, because let's be honest here, folks. We had this dude in office for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020. We had him for 4 years. So we all should understand by now that this dude, he's a boaster, he's a chauvinist, he likes to brag about, he likes to exaggerate his accomplishments and especially exaggerate his opponent's failures, regardless of how significant or not those exaggerations are. And and this is not exactly on accident either. Although to be fair, he was a I guess he still is a multi-millionaire or millionaire, I think, due to his companies prior to becoming the president.
Dude is loaded as fuck. The dude got money. I'm pretty sure like his net worth is at least in the billions. Let me look it up.
Yes, and it's more like we know that he probably got this from his definitely from his lifestyle choices and how he talks, because as a businessman you have to run the show and try to keep things up to business, right, up to professional level, if you catch my drift. Motherfucker is worth $4 billion. God damn, that's okay. And but the thing is, to attack him that type of boasting is good for it's shown as a charismatic approach, because it shows confidence, it shows leadership, it shows he's up to business and only business. But the reason why Harris definitely got like a gotcha there is because with that rally comment was to attack his ego, because to imply that no one likes him and no one bothered going to his rallies, which we know is not true, but because it's being brought up, he felt the need to address it, even when the moderators changed topics or tried to get a response for a whole nother question.
Isn't it also a level of projection, since technically speaking, people are leaving Kamala's rallies too? Like I've seen videos pull up on Twitter and Facebook where it's people are just getting up, they were that one performance, right, where she had
it doesn't matter if it's projection. It doesn't matter, because it wasn't the point of the statement. It would be seen as projection if Trump dismissed it then and there, and just kept going with the actual question that he was given for his response to her previous statements.
But because he didn't and actually reacted to it, it didn't matter.
Because he reacted to and tried to be on the he got into the defensive on that topic. It shows that you clearly hit a nerve, and that can be seen as childish or immature or unprofessional, despite his demeanor up until that point. Trump definitely, now on the flip side, Trump definitely had the show for the first 30 minutes. Trump, he answered some of the questions directly. I'll get into that in a moment. And he definitely did not allow Harris to overstep him for quite some time, regardless of how direct the questions he was given. And he started off being the same Trump we expected he was back in 2016. The problem, however, is that it did not take long before the most exaggeratory of all exaggeratory comments come out. Halfway into the debate.
The debate might as well be a show, because it's full of fucking clowns everywhere.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that paradigm in a moment. But it halfway into the debate, it was made clear that this the story about these particular people, right? That what is it? Oh, these particular people.
What, Haitians?
I don't know. He didn't. There was no mention of the particular individual involved in this, but apparently there were stories of these particular these convicts or these criminals who are kidnapping and eating pets and animals from other people's property, like cats, dogs. I think someone mentioned a duck.
I heard about this. I heard about this before class.
Right.
Before I went to like
somewhere in Ohio. So
like I think it was Spring. I think it was Springfield. I have heard of this. It was a situation where like Trump was trying to condemn like the I think it was related to the conversation of the migrants. And like he was trying to make it art. I think again, I haven't watched the debate. I only heard about it through word of mouth and what little information I was able to find before today's episode because Blaze was the one in charge of getting information today. I think he was trying to make an argument in relation to the migrant issue, and he pointed out like how like I've heard of from my understanding it was Haitians from Haiti, but it could be another whole other.
Well, it could be referencing that he made no mention of any particular individual. He tied that in with the migrants and all that stuff.
Well, but funny enough, like like I said, when I heard about this, I started to fact check him. Like, what the hell is Trump talking about? Like, why is he bringing this up? Like, we all heard of the stereotype about not to be specific about a certain group eating animals, eating pets and stuff like it's a daily cuisine for them, that type of shit. I think it was Asians, right? But so I thought to myself, what the hell he's talking about? So I looked it up, and not to be like a bootlicker, but he kind of has some merit to his word because like there were I'm not sure about Springfield, Ohio. There were reports of like some migrants. I do know they were Haitian because there was actually police calls about it, and apparently there was grabbing geese by the necks after hunting them in like public parks and stuff like that. I think myself like, is this what he's talking about? Because like, if that's the case, then why are people clowning on him? Like, I mean, I get like in a presidential debate, like he might be ridiculous, but he's technically speaking on something real. If this is not what he's talking about, then I have no idea what the fuck he's on about. Then he could be tweaking, but who's to say?
Well, it's no matter. The point is, when it didn't take long for himself saying like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, which whether you took that seriously or not, it did not stop the internet within hours of the debate afterwards. To like make these memes, like I saw a bunch of memes of these cats for Trump, dogs and cats and pets for Trump type thing. It was funny. But overall, and I will say this, both of them was shown to dodge questions, both of them. And I mean, like for example, Harris was given a question which I think should be something relevant to many Americans to this day, given our current economy. She was asked, do you think people are well off now they were during they were 4 years ago, or something like that. Something, I guess, implying that do you think they're better off now than they were during Trump, right? And it would have been the easiest, obvious answer, no. Well, the obvious answer that everyone understands is no. But she instead talks about how she grew up from like a rural life or this, humble beginnings type thing, and it's like, what are you talking about? She didn't even answer the question. She didn't. And on the flip side, Trump was asked a question related to during immigration topic, where he was asked, you plan on deporting all these illegal migrants, all this stuff like that. What would that look like? Are they going to be going like go door to door asking for papers and this and that? And Trump doesn't answer the question directly. He goes on another rant talking about how it's the Biden and Harris administration's fault, especially Harris, and she was the border czar.
I mean, it is technically her fault. It is technically her fault.
Yeah, right. I mean, and mostly directed at her because she's on the podium. That she's the border czar, and all of a sudden we have like millions of migrants coming into the southern border just coming and going, just coming and staying as they please, crime being prominent, and just people bringing like drug trafficking or this and that. There's no actual system to stop or vet these migrants in mass. And it's like, and yeah, he doesn't answer the question at all. He just goes on this rant about targeting her and not answer the question. So well, I don't, both of them definitely, both of them had that moment.
No, I'm not gonna sit here and excuse use any of them for not answering the question. I if anything, it only makes sense of like a few of these before it becomes kind of redundant. But like I can understand. Here's the thing, like you can't for life of me. You can't for life of me. Excuse the piss poor behavior or performance of economic, because that is something that we can actually visually track. We can actually like again, I'm not trying to sit here get on Harris's case and be bootlicking Trump. I'm not trying to do that, but that is something that as a president you have to make a thorough realization. Like everybody here is fully aware, like every American is fully aware that the economy is so bad that we were better off 4 years ago than we were made. You make the argument that we weren't that great then during Trump's case. It's still better than what it is now because I don't need to state the obvious, but gas is obviously too high, food is too much. We still have a housing problem. That's always been a thing, even since Obama was in office. So that never changed. The case with fucking we always had a migrant crisis, technically speaking. We would have people coming in illegally, but it wasn't so bad as it is now. So I can't imagine either one of them really answering the question to full ability, since what do you really say about that? I mean, what do you say about that? Like Trump tried to handle the border crisis situation by fucking putting his wall. You saw how well that went. That didn't do so hot for long term stuff. Especially since when Biden got in office, they tried to tear it down. Which aren't they? Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they trying to rebuild it now?
I don't know. Not on the top of my head, I don't know. But we're dialing it back again. So overall, this debate was disappointing, and as you kind of insinuated earlier, people don't watch these debates anymore for the sake of, at least most people don't watch these debates no more for the sake of anything concrete or constructive, because if the 2016 presidential debates with Trump and Hillary, the 2020 debates with Trump and Biden, and this one with Harris and Trump have shown anything in terms of pattern, is that these debates are clown shows.
Most certainly.
These things are clown shows, and because they're now the Biden and Trump one that happened a month or two ago wasn't much less of a clown show, more of just a very sad state of affairs, because it not only was it painfully obvious that Biden is not there, he was never there, and he's out of steam. He's out of steam.
Clearly, those were obvious.
Right. This, however, is just sad, and overall, let's address this. Unfortunately, the most frustrating part about this debate, out of everything I address, everything that I am pointing out in terms of the flaws of the debate, nothing was most disappointing more than how the moderators. That was the most disappointing factor in this entire thing. Now,
please explain, because I want to know how. Because again, I've heard about this too, but I didn't go into detail about it. But what the hell is people's problem with the moderators? Like, what's going on?
Well, let's first, before I answer, let's address this. This debate was held and moderated by MSNBC or ABC News. I don't remember which.
And it was ABC. It was ABC. It was ABC.
Wait, so unlike other companies like CNN, other news sources like CNN, Fox, MSNBC, or any other Channel 4, for God's sake, they were hosting, they were moderating it, and I don't remember the moderators' names. Not that I care enough to clarify that, but knowing that it was them running the show, you also can find out that the head of the company is close friends with Kamala, and this is relevant because when you look at the entire debate, this hour and a half long debate, you would realize that out of all, Trump got fact checked like 13 times. I mean, roughly that.
Okay.
Harris got fact checked 0. And now, for the audience here, you would think that that shows that Trump is telling more lies or misconstruing information or just saying whatever like he normally does. And while part of that could be true, the fact that Harris got fact checked 0 times is fundamentally impossible. It shouldn't be possible.
I don't see why. Forgive me, but I don't see why that would be at the very least impossible, because like if she knew what she was talking about, then wouldn't it make sense that
well, let me remember when I said that when we talked about the economy and this and that, and she didn't answer the question?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something like this, right? She doesn't when she talked about the economy and talk about how she's going to try to create this opportunity economy, which whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, like what the hell does opportunity economy mean?
I have no idea. But let's loop that right back down in a moment. But the fact checkers don't fact check anything. Actually, there was a state. She brings up the Charlottesville event and how, when asked, she claimed that Trump was condoned and was saying that the neo-Nazis and white nationalists of that group were
Charlottesville thing
were good people. Yeah, what Trump was saying, they were good people, which is not true.
What was the Charlottesville thing? I may have been out of the loop on that one.
It doesn't matter. The point is, the long and short of it is that there was this in Charlottesville. There were statues, monuments, or other historical spaces of the city that were being torn down by a lot of left-leaning groups. Similar to why other people would take down statues of these supposedly historically hateful yada 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 nonsense.
Which was by itself one of the dumbest things that my generation has ever done, like taking down statues and stuff. I don't see why that would fix anything.
The thing is, but during that time at Charlottesville, a lot of people showed up with tiki torches. I don't know if they didn't have pitchforks because now look at Angry Mob, but a lot of them came up with tiki torches. It was a lot of like. Based on the clips I seen,
wait, Martin Luther King with tiki torches? What?
No, they were carrying tiki torches.
Oh.
I don't know if they were carrying pitchforks because not old-fashioned angry mobs, but they were carrying tiki torches. I didn't see anything else in their hands, at least not from the top of my head I can remember. But that was the long and short of it. And when that happened, and after it was over, Trump was asked during a press conference at that time, do you condemn, or what is his comments or his beliefs, or do you condemn the type of actions that these people do, right? And Trump, he points out that they were good people in that group. who were upset about statues and historical stuff, like they're changing history. And they were doing all that. There were good people in there, but he does not. But he also he said, and I quote, "I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists. For them, they should be condemned to all hell." I mean, I'm not going to go into one here, but he was not condoning them. If anything, he condemned them in that same press conference within sentences of each other. And which was an obvious lie. But the fact that the moderators didn't fact check that, and we know it's an obvious lie. It was on a press conference. It was national news. Everyone would have seen it. Everyone would have made note of this. Everyone could have used this. Now, and it doesn't matter if he actually believed those statements or not, because we're not no one is a mind reader. We don't know what he was thinking top of his head. The point is, if we're going to accuse his actions and what he did, that is a lie. And ABC News did not fact check her. They also didn't fact check her about any of the crimes committed or the particular crimes that have been occurring with a lot of the illegal migrants, because they fact checked Trump saying that violent crime was on the slow decline, but that's not the entire truth, because where exactly is the information referencing? He just said it actually is. And let's talk about another thing. We talk about the whole eating the cats and dogs part. They fact checked Trump about they talked to this particular individual from Springfield.
The governor. I know about this under the governor.
The governor. It's the governor of the state of Ohio, not the governor of Springfield. But anyway, they were saying they referenced him, and the only statement that dude gave is that there were no clear evidence of that. But yet, if you look at police reports and police records and all that stuff, there's a handful of them talking about suspicious people kidnapping and eating pets and animals. Like what the heck? And so either they were talking about like convictions or something like that, maybe not, but to say that it's a lie just because one individual said without any, and what, by the way, if you look back at those statements, he didn't give any further like form of like secondary or primary, no, not even secondary, but primary like evidence or anything that would suggest to like collaborate with his words or his claims. He just says that he doesn't see anything, and that's it. Like, that's it. I'd say I don't see anything, therefore it's not there. That's type of rhetoric, and it was very, it's very.
That's very disingenuous.
Oh, for sure. And now, overall, this debate was very one-sided because, Trump definitely had his low moments, and he definitely didn't act in his best performance he could give him. Then again, that could be a testament to not only it being a 3 versus 1, but also live debates are very impractical with conversation. But it's that. But there was one thing that stuck with me the most about this entire debate is that, and another lie, before we could get to that, another lie that was that was addressed towards Trump that they didn't fact check Harris on was him on Project 2025.
I still don't know what the fuck Project 2025 is about. Like, I don't even know what content is in the thing.
Well, to keep things on topic here, Project 2025, all it is a list of letters and recommendations for any particular, Republican candidate to try the policies and legislate that any Republican candidate would be like recommendations for them to follow or try to accomplish while they're in the office. The company, this particular foundation, is third-party group with no direct affiliation with Trump. They do this for every single election cycle. They do this every 4 years. They do this for every single Republican candidate because, Trump isn't going to be in the office forever. They can't expect one person to do all the work they expect to be done. They do this every single time. They did it with Mitt Romney. They did it with Kennedy. They did it with Bush. They did it with all kinds of people before Trump. So Trump is not the special case here. It's just that he's the most notable as of this. These last 12 years.
Yeah, Mike keeps talking out, my man. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. He keeps topping out.
Anyway, so the lie here is that Trump never proclaimed, never stated, never took ownership or any particular responsibility or claim or any affiliation with Project 2025. If anything, he denied it outright. He denied it outright on the stage, like I have nothing to do with this. Can
I all just been a lie to like, and the way it covers his tracks? I'm not saying he was wrong or right. I'm just saying like, couldn't that also be perceived that sort of way?
Well, no, you would say that he's lying about his denial if there was actually something to reference, but there isn't. Trump never openly or subtly or during an interview, nothing in many public appearances, he's never once proclaimed any affiliation with the people of 2025. And again, he doesn't need to, because the very company itself do this for every single Republican candidate who makes it to the primaries, who make it to the towards the semifinals, or make it to the finals, I guess, how you want to describe it.
So why bring it up now? Like why are people coming at this now when this has been happening since every other Republican candidate that's been to this point?
Because it's Trump of all things, but also the contents within Project 25, which I'll be honest, I don't know at the top of my head either. But I remember some components being like, for example, the confrontation with like Islamic or Muslim religion, because as you know, we talked about this before off stream. The Islamic faith is on a rise, and it definitely contradicts a lot of the Christian traditional values that most, like 70% of this country actually follows, or its history, or challenges, because that faith definitely doesn't stop as just a freedom of expression. But we're getting to that another day.
Well, you gotta remember, there's a lot of like
tougher. I think other stuff was like tougher border security. And again, it's a list of things that I don't even know it off the top of my head. I think it's like a 900-page document, which no person is going to sit around and read all that, which is impressive that and I don't even think even Trump and his team would read all that, given that there's so much about that type of project that, quite frankly, I don't think anyone could realistically follow or can know without losing their brain cells. Because a lawyer, I don't think a lawyer could just sit down and read 900 pages of that in one sitting, and they got to see that in like 2 weeks at best. But overall, just lies opposed to lies. And mind you, yeah, Trump made his lies, but then again, you could also say Trump made his exaggerations, like the violent crime stuff with immigrants. Even if the fact check was true that violent crime is declining, you could say that Trump's statements upon that was either a lie or him being his normal exaggeratory self, his flamboyant self. So
I don't think such a statement will sit right with a lot of people.
Well, no, yes or no. It really depends. But overall, that's that. Now, as stated before, Kamala is close friends with the head of ABC News. So, and when you look back at the debate and think about the questions they were giving her and not to him, you realize that she was given a lot of easy softballs. And on top of that, they let Harris talk for as long as she wanted, even sometimes outside her 2 minutes. But Trump, whether it be his rebuttal or during his actual questions, direct questions, they would have to keep telling him, "Hey, you got to stop talking. It's been 2 minutes." Or I think at one point they had to cut his mic out because he was talking for too long.
Didn't they do the same thing for during the Biden thing? Like they cut his mic off or something?
Which one? Back in 2020?
No, like when earlier this year when Biden and Trump had a debate. It was like
I don't know. I don't think they did.
I remember there being discussion about. I remember there being discussion about someone's mic being fucking cut off during the whole debate, and it was one of Trump's mics. I remember that being a whole situation, but I could be.
I don't think it mattered then because, nor do I think it's. I don't think it mattered then. 'Cause I don't think it went down the way it did because that last debate with Biden was.
I mean, it was ass cheeks, so I don't expect much of it.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, this debate left a lot of people disappointed. And it doesn't help that throughout the entire debate, Trump made this abundantly clear over and over. She doesn't have policies. She doesn't have any notable policy. You asked me earlier in the beginning of the stream about what's her policies. No one knows. Heck, I don't even think that Trump knows. And the thing is, he points out in the debate that, if anything, a lot of her promises in some of these states and a lot of her rallies is, I think it's kind of funny how he addressed this. She was making promises closer to him, so much so that he was going to send her a MAGA hat. But he also pointed out as soon as she gets back into office as the president this time, not the VP, she would likely just flip-flop on her opinions and just do whatever. And fun fact, Harris's father, right? He's a Marxist professor.
That says way too much, honestly. I fucking hate these socialist Marxists. I swear to God, they clearly have no idea.
And the thing is, and now I don't bring this up because Trump did, because obviously he would have. I bring it up because that would definitely raise questions of the economy that's going to come forth if she wins. But again, we don't know because, then again, we don't know currently because she can only do so much under the Biden administration for the last 3 years. But then again, she had enough power at the VP to do stuff, so who knows? And to end things off with like the overall timeline of events with this debate is that after the debate was over, sometimes, most of the time, and sometimes these candidates would have after interviews to their corresponding people, right? Fox News interviewed Trump after the debate was over. They interviewed a few other, like I think Ted Cruz, and this one Republican person, I don't remember the top of the name. F. Kennedy Jr., like I guess a child of RDK or something like that. And they explained how he left the Democrats.
You mean JFK?
JFK Jr., like the son of the president who got assassinated, I think. I don't know his affiliation. I just know he's a Kennedy, a notable Kennedy. And how he left the Democrats because of the very stuff that Harris was doing then and there.
That did not sit right with a lot of people. That did not sit right with a lot of people, though.
I bet it didn't. So Trump had all his interviews, but after the debate was over, Harris left, like immediately. Her and her team just left without a second, without word. The moment that it was over and everything was getting to everyone was dispersing, she was just gone. And on top of that, within hours later, Harris and her entire team and the DNC was asking for another debate. Now, here's the thing.
Wait, they're asking for another debate against Trump?
Yeah, another one. Now, here's the problem with that, right? One, typically these debates don't just happen by any system or by any like procedure or nothing. Like these are typically requested and they're performed at least 3 times, right? And these are done throughout the campaign, not within the last 2 months.
Actually, for a debate now seems kind of redundant because, like, the race is about to be over. What is the debate about?
No, that's not the point. Because, mind you, the main target demographic is the non-partisan, non-politically corrupt individuals, or politically decided individuals who just haven't made a choice yet. Excuse me.
Feeling a bit gassy
And-
day today, aren't you?
Anyway, so that's what they're targeting. And the thing is, the problem with asking for another debate is that you don't. Is it one? It's against time. We don't have enough time for that because I think within the next couple of weeks, early voting is going to happen. So there really isn't enough time to just be asking for another debate and expecting them to just walk away without any complications. Fun fact. No, not fun fact. Another issue is that if you won the debate, if you and your team thought you had the upper hand in the entire debate, why are you asking for another debate? Because typically in live debates where you're trying to address the audience, not actually to your opponent, if you won, why do you think you need another one? Because that'd be putting your foot into the fire and potentially make yourself getting tomatoes thrown at your face. On top of that, especially for Harris, why should we be asking for another debate now of all times versus Trump, who's been in the public spotlight and public interviews and other stuff for weeks and weeks and even months. He's been in the public way too often. So anything he said or do is pretty much out there for everyone to see prior to these debates in the first place. The only conclusion that makes any sense, at least to me, about why she would ask for a second debate is because the DNC and her and the DNC did not get that gotcha moment that they were looking for to try to sway voters. And remember how I mentioned that she did a bait and switch with how she brought up his rallies, and how he took the bait. Well, yes, it was a very effective strategy because by attacking his rallies, you're attacking him and his performance at those rallies, and therefore you're attacking his quality as a interesting or likable candidate. But here's the problem: despite that, it wasn't enough. He addressed a few things about Harris just as much as she has, and they both dodged equally amount of questions. I think more so Harris due to the softball questions. And he was, and it wasn't enough to get him. Like, think back to what Biden, even outside the mental decline aspect of the problem, look back at the Biden debate a few months ago. He was asked something related. I don't remember what he was asked, but the fact that he was just mumbling, saying all kind of stuff. What did Trump say? I'll be honest, I don't know what he said. I don't think he understood what he said either. That right there is such an innocuous statement, and it should be like an underhanded tactic to some degree. But because that was the then and there gotcha moment, which solidified his narrative of Sleepy Joe, he's not there, he's not competent enough to take the presidency, he's not he's just obviously he's not fit because he's not healthy, he's not mentally there. That right there was the killing blow. And that's why they had to get Hillary. That's right, not Hillary. They had to get Kamala to take in Biden's spot last minute and try to change the status quo, change the public opinion by getting someone who is close to his position but not too compromised.
So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Like, sorry for interrupting, but let me get this straight. So these motherfuckers want another debate. Like, let's say for the hypothetical they want it to be, right? All they will be doing at this point is just trying to double down to ensure that absolutely no fucking chance that voters sway towards the opposition. Now, obviously that's what you'd want, but the problem is that, like I said before, like a few minutes ago, there's not a lot of time. Like, they have to work with what they got, and like, I don't know about what's going on right now in the political scene. Like, I don't keep up with politics. I usually stay out of it, but so I don't know who's currently leading in the polls or whatever. But like, if they're that desperate for another debate to get some level of gotcha moment against Trump, they must be desperate for something. I mean, like, I don't.
Well, that's not. Well, this is nothing new, though. This is a common practice in politics where you try to find the worst moment in your opponent, and then you would freaking then you would use that moment for the rest of the entirety of the race, and try to insinuate that they're unfair, they're not ready, they ain't doing all that. But they didn't get that with Trump. His usual charismatic stuff, where he's basically trying to convince the audience that he's the best of the best, even if it is exaggeratory. And that's what happened. Now, Trump even said so during his interview that he might or he might not take it, because it really depends. Like, there's not a lot of time, and if I do take it, what exactly would that look like? Because what happened in this performance was bad, and I don't think they're going to try to redeem it.
Put it this way: obviously, we know why. By that statement, we obviously know why the Kamala and the Democratic Party wants another debate. But if anything, I think Trump should take it. Here's my reasons why. Let's say, regardless of who won the debate, Trump. Now, again, I want to be unbiased here. If Trump wants to have another one, it'll have to be for the reason that, because you say yourself that Trump wasn't performing at his best during this debate, right?
No, he definitely wasn't. If we compare it to his previous ones, no.
Okay, I mean, then again, the previous one that he was in was kind of.
I mean the ones that he was at his best.
Okay, but let me tell you, but that's the same month in the last debate was with a guy who came and functioned without some ice cream in his hands. But I would say Trump does need to go for it. We need something better than what we had a while ago. Again, I haven't seen the debate, and after hearing what you said, I kind of want to watch it. But Trump would want this if he wants to, make a little comeback. Like, again, in a hypothetical that he supposedly lost, right? He would want this to not only get a nice little comeback to ensure that his performance is better, but he can learn. I'll put it this way: there's no doubt people from his own party, people from his associates, and really just the internet, because this dude's a massive internet meme lord, is gonna come out here and say clown him for his lackluster performance. Even if it wasn't as bad as what we think other candidates were, like, it obviously wasn't at his best. So he wants to do this to redeem himself, and if you learn from his mistakes, he can actually provide a much more better case and argue in a way that, because, like, it's my understanding. Again, I'm not gonna say I like the guy. I generally don't, but, like, to my understanding, this dude is pretty damn good at with difficult, like, out of nowhere type questions, right? So, like, if he wasn't performing at his best, I mean, he obviously wasn't doing that. He would want another debate to redeem himself in that regard, and he'll be better prepared, and hopefully not be as so agitated. Now, does he mean that he should take it? I mean, objectively speaking, outside of my observation, that really depends on him and his party. On the hypothetical chance that he won the debate, at this point, it doesn't really matter who won or lost. The debate was just ass in general. But in the hypothetical chance that he won the debate, right? He has no reason to. He would technically have no reason to, because if he did win by the public opinion, then his victory is assured. He has no reason to worry about it. Now, by your own words, Cameron, Blaze, by your own words, Blaze, do you believe that he had the gotcha moment that convinced voters to come to him?
Honestly, it's hard to say, at least to me, because on one hand, if he doesn't take it, the DSC would call him a coward, which I don't think would land very well due to his
ego.
Well, no, I don't think it'll land well for him. I say don't land well in terms of the accusation, because
got Amber Alert. It's like an Amber Alert. Looks like a child abduction. Age 19. That is not a child. That's an adult, but it's still bad, obviously.
I don't think it'll work well for I don't think it will sit well for voters because, quite frankly, it doesn't seem, I don't know, relevant, if that makes sense. Because if he takes the debate, right, he has to arguably waste more time worrying about it than anything else, which I don't think I can put past Trump to not do that. He's a boaster, he's a showman. It makes sense if he does. Is also the fact, but however, it's the fact that if he doesn't, he's obviously going to be called a coward, and which he doesn't need to, which doesn't mean anything on its own, because if his performance, or rather Kamala's lack thereof, during the debate was anything to go by, there really isn't anything that they can say about him that wouldn't obviously be seen as cope and seething from the very same group.
Then again, I can't imagine. Again, like, there are pros and cons where they have a debate. One thing for certain that cannot be undermined is that the public opinion will no doubt look at this debate and by subsequent last debate, and they're going to look at this as, what is the fucking point? Because I'll be honest, even though I didn't watch it, I am aware of the reception, the public reception behind it. Now, a lot of people obviously have their sides. They obviously have their positions where they're gonna say who won is that. I don't think that really matters. A lot more people, regardless of the side, said this debate really didn't do anything. If anything, from my understanding, it didn't do jack shit to sway voters to either side. And now, well, again, I don't know what's currently going on in the polls. I can't really imagine it looking good for either party, at least no major changes, because, you put it this way, presidential debates, their primary function is to present an argument or a case as to why you should vote for me and not them type stuff, right? If the last debate and the debate before this one taught us anything, is that presidential debates just aren't there anymore. You're better off just relying purely on campaigns. I mean, fuck. If Trump wasn't at his best, or Kamala was, wasn't performing at her best, or whatever the hell you want to make about her case, then it just shows that this presidential debate was kind of a waste of time. Do they need another one? Maybe, maybe not. I personally don't really care that much, because, if Biden, Kamala, and Trump in these last two debates have taught me anything, is that they're really not really worth watching. Granted, I didn't watch it myself, but judging by your word, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a worthwhile watch to anybody.
Well, that remains to be seen. In any case, we're going to wrap things up here. I'm sure there'll be plenty more to talk about as this election goes forward. If you guys like what you see here, or want to ask questions, or give your own statements related to the debate itself and what you guys think the quality of this election cycle is going to be, bring it down to the comment section below. Follow us on social media. They'll be in the description. We'll be here every Thursday. I said earlier, we'll be here every Thursday at 3:45 EST. And without further ado, I'm Blaze.
And I'm Sean.
And this was your weekly dose of bullshit. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.